Welcome to the Wake.Show. As everybody knows, a show needs an intro. This is that intro. I am Fisher, your host, featuring Chris McCarty. We do this thing Monday through Friday. Oh, I forgot to turn on one of my lights.
Illuminate.
There we go.
Illuminate.
How you doing, Mr. McCarty?
Man, I'm awesome, man. How are you, brother? How are you, brother?
I'm swell. Thanks for asking. You're rock started out today with your sunglasses.
Yeah, it's Sunglass Tuesday.
Yeah. All right.
No, Chase gave me these glasses, man. It was really cool, and so I'm putting them out there to be like support my boys.
It's,
saying thanks.
it's name dropping Tuesday.
Hey,
on the
name dropping. See, I know Chris Fisher. Y'all don't know about that.
How you doing, Kurt Schreiner? My wife Lauren, Elliot, welcome. Dana,
Elliot,
Robert Reap, good morning. My cousin Maribel, good morning. All right, welcome to the Wake.Show today. Hold on. Oh yeah, I remember now. And welcome in our sponsor for the first. Let's see here. First 15 minutes. Single source insurance. All right, we'll get to on this day here in a couple minutes. You have some stuff to talk about. I see, Chris, you brought in a book today.
I did, but we got to talk about it yesterday. We made a real big faux pas. We forgot, and on this day, yesterday, in the year 2002, we were all privileged to see the greatest post-game interview of any sport, Allen Iverson, practice. We talk about practice.
What?
Practice? You remember practice? Practice?
So wait, hold on. On this day in 2000 or yesterday in 2002, what did Allen Iverson do?
Gave the whole speech about practice. You cannot sit there and tell me you don't know practice.
I don't think so. It doesn't sound. I'm
about to leave. You
just reacted like I said. I'd never seen Star Wars,
dude. Listen, I need someone at home to be like practice.
Hold on.
We talk about practice.
Allen Iverson.
He said practice. I think 24 and a half times or in one inning. Oh, it was phenomenal. People still talk about that practice. We talk about practice.
Hold on. There's a GIF.
Practice.
So you're talking about here.
There it is. Practice. We ain't talking about the game. We talk about practice. Not a game. Not the game.
So this was a popular moment in sports?
Oh my goodness. They put it on yesterday on ESPN.
Practice.
On this day. Practice. We talk about practice, man. Practice.
No, I guess I wasn't paying attention to that.
After the show, we'll watch it. It was really, really good. Really good. I'm shocked that you haven't seen that. I really am.
Yeah, it doesn't. Well, maybe when I pull it up a little later. Let's see. Hold on.
We talk about practice, man.
This isn't focusing the way I wanted to focus.
Practice.
There you go.
See? Give me 5, guy.
There you go. All right. Also, the Wake.Pups are here today. Joey and Roxy are in a studio. I don't have any cameras on them, however. So if they wander close, I'll make sure I snatch one up and. But make sure you follow. I haven't checked out their Instagram in a few days, which always annoys Roxy quite a bit. Let's see here, Nikki. Good morning, Nikki. By the way, the book that you brought in is the book that we were talking about yesterday, Chris.
It is the book we were talking about. It is Chester Copperpot. It's the book that
it's called "Shooting Shit with God."
Conversations with God.
Okay,
I went to the store and I picked it up from my guy. So here it is from me to you. And you need to read the inside. To everybody, because that way you won't give it to anybody. You know what I mean?
Wait, hold on. You said you were going to bring in your copy for me to read,
right? And so I thought better. I'm like, you know what, man? Like, I'd rather just give you your own, because it's a book that I've been reading for the last 16 years. Not just just periodically you jump back in. It meant a lot to me, and I felt like it'd be better if I can actually give you yours from me, and so who knows what happens in the future. You always have a piece of me with you, brother.
Conversations with God, an uncommon dialogue. Book 1, Neil Donald Walsh, and on the inside here it says, "To my homie, may the force be with you." No, may the words in this book give you what it gave me. Fuck fear. Chris McCarty. I love it. All right, so we're gonna
uncommon dialogue, my friend.
Here's what we'll do. Sometime during the show, I'm just gonna crack this bad. All right, if I'm gonna crack this bad boy, can I just do something random, or you say no? Pick the first chapter.
You can just say something that you think about. You can talk about hell, whatever, and just go to the back, do the index, and read a little bit of it.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Okay. All right. So we'll come. The author is Neil Walsh.
Donald Walsh. I think it's gonna be great is to. For everybody to see it and you read it, and then as time goes by, you'll just talk about it during the show and what you're seeing, and we'll just all watch you just change.
Well, it's going to be that transforming.
Everything changes us, man. Any good, anything good, any book, something can change you.
Well, you sent me a passage from something.
Yes.
One second here. A few weeks ago. Was that from this book?
No, it was not from that book.
And what I mean by he just took a picture of something he was reading and sent it to me.
Well, actually, a friend of mine, Deirdre, was reading it, and she sent it to me. I don't see.
All right, I have my stuff hasn't updated here.
Well, to everyone,
hey, by the way,
what I thought was so important is it said vulnerability is not winning or losing. It's having the courage to show up and be seen when we have no control over the outcome.
All right.
Vulnerability is not weakness. It's our greatest measure of courage. It's awesome.
By the way, this is from the concert we went to on Friday night, and the lead singer wrote "I love you, Lauren" to my wife and then signed it.
That's awesome.
Oh, he's known us way too long.
That's really cool.
Hey, there's Sam. Hi, Sam. Nice to see you. Hope everything's going well. She's going to be flying out, was it Thursday? Heading to Colombia. Heading to South America.
That's fun.
And then starting her new life in Orlando. But yeah, so we went to see Andrew McMahon in the Wilderness on a Sunday night, and I've known Andrew for a long time. And it's just one of those cool things, being in radio, and Chris can attest to this. When you had the blessing to be in radio, or the blessing to be the music man, to be up on stage, you get a chance to meet a lot of cool people and collaborate with Chase Rice.
Yeah, man. Which is really cool. Yeah, it was really cool.
What did I miss? No, not hotboxing, Blake. Botoxing.
Oh.
I put, in the subject.
Stay away from Botox, people. You just keep going back and keep going back and keep going back.
I keep forgetting our did start.
Love yourself. You're fine.
That's one of the things we're going to talk about today, Chris, is it's becoming a thing for people in their 20s.
Listen, my ex-wife was doing it. And I was saying the same, like, girl, what are you doing? You're just, when does it stop? It doesn't stop. You're going to want more and more, and you're going to, I think it was her mom's doing it. And I don't know, everyone just has, they get bought into the whole youth vanity thing, and man, stuff goes away, dude. Goes away.
I know, but we're trapped in it, especially for those of us in the West. Yeah. I think in Western culture, the vanity thing, the obsession with looking young, especially if you're a female,
it's got to be rough.
Our culture has effed them up so bad.
Absolutely. So bad. Because they're always putting some young person up there, and again, it's like what you see. Like if you become what you see. If you keep seeing violence, you might end up getting that, and you see. If you see people with red hair and they're just chopping people down, you see someone with red hair and you'll be like, oh, someone with red hair. So you see, what I'm saying is, the example is a bad example, but I'm just saying that let's just say
Are you chopping down people with red hair? What did you just say?
I'm saying, let's just say that the news would show nothing but people with red hair, and they're just going around just beating people up all the time. If you saw someone red hair on the street, you'd be like, uh-oh.
Right.
And so just subsequently, if you put young, youthful, beautiful women and keep putting that in your face, you start thinking, oh, I'm not that, and you're looking for that. I'm not that. I need to be that.
And you think you can get there, but you can't.
And you can't. And
I mean, one out of 100 of you can, but for the most part, I mean, I was sitting the other day talking to some women that have gone through some stuff, and on one hand, I'm going, I guess they kind of look okay for being in their 50s, but on the other hand, I'm like, no, because they look like I reach out, I want to touch their face, I want to do this to their face and go, what is? How did you do that?
It's sad because it's their insecurity. We're all insecure, man. Everyone's insecure about something, and it's just it's a moment that you see that their insecurity is winning. And it stinks. And again, you don't know what they've gone through. You don't know, maybe someone in their family called them ugly. Who knows, man?
Oh, it was more than that, buddy. It's our culture. It starts from the tiniest age.
Man.
Think about it when you see a little girl, you see a little 2-year-old, a 3-year-old. And you're so pretty. You're so, look how pretty you are. You're so pretty.
Well said. And you know what's funny? When someone says that to my kids, I pull them off like, Johnny. Johnny's a cute little kid, right? He's a little boy. And
your kids are adorable.
And they're like, oh my gosh, you're so cute. And I tell them, I say, Johnny, just know that doesn't do anything. It doesn't mean anything. It's just a way for people to know that they're talking to Johnny. It doesn't make you better. It doesn't make you, it just doesn't. And I'm constantly putting that with my, and my daughter. She's gorgeous, But I mean, for me, I feel like I have to be the one to tell her that. But not to try to like mess her up, but I keep saying, you're so smart, you're so smart, you're so smart, you're so smart. I don't know.
I've told you,
it's rough, man.
I have 4 nieces. I have 4 nieces and 2 nephews, and I've never told any of them how cute they were or pretty or handsome or this, except for those times that they're all dressed up. Like weddings and it's like they go, oh my gosh, you look so pretty, you look so handsome.
See, balance, that's good.
But I also think that I have some issues myself, like because I perceive us to be too far one way, of putting way too much on those physical attributes at a young age.
Right.
That I think I've gotten kind of cynical and will pull back in those times when it would be very natural and very genuine to go, oh, you look so cute, or adorable.
Well, man, you could add to it, but you could say the same thing. You could be like, hey, you look great, but just know that you're not your looks, you're your actions, you are your heart. Because beauty is what beauty does. That kind of stuff.
And you know what? For those people who are beautiful, I don't want to take because there is something about those people that have whatever that is. I don't know if it's perfect symmetry or
they
what
say
it
it's
is.
Symmetry. Yeah, they do say it's symmetry. I mean, it's because and being honest, man. Let's be real. People, aesthetically beautiful people, they get it. They almost get passes with things, and it's sad. It's really sad. Like the person who gets a job because they're more attractive to someone else or by society's measures. I mean, it's all twisted. It's all backwards. But I don't know. Something's gonna come. Something's gonna give.
All right. Well, let's get to. Sorry for doing that right in the microphone there. I'm sure.
Speaking, is your brain okay, my friend? Because I read something about sniffing. About I just read something about a woman that had some kind of brain.
Oh yeah. There was a headline this morning about a woman who thought her nose was dripping, but it was brain fluid leaking out of her head.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that your brain is okay.
Well, now that you put that in my head,
is anyone saying anything, commenting about the
Kimber
beauty?
Kimber says, "Good morning, Chris.
Hey,
natural is the way to be. Natural is the."
Let me tell you something. Kimber and I shared a beautiful moment together. We met, and Kimber, I'm not going to give all our business out. It was just one of those moments where, we all experience pain and loss. She has a loss, I have a loss, and that loss is what brought us together. And so we had a moment we didn't know each other, but we were able to be open and vulnerable to someone you don't know. And sometimes you feel like someone's really listening if they don't know you, they don't have their own agenda. And so we cried together, lamenting the loss of Ernest. And
she just said, "Stop now."
Okay.
Just kidding.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm just saying that it was Kimber, you being on here, it's just a reminder that is what we need to be doing. We all need to connect as much as possible. Just connect, and be vulnerable and share. And it's healing. You healed me that day, and I really appreciate it because I haven't, not to get not too much of our business, but it was a beautiful moment. It's a beautiful moment. So when you can connect with people, just connect, man. Connect.
Let's get to on this day. The on this day in history, we do for perspective and to remember that whatever is scaring the crap out of us in the headlines today will likely just be a footnote in history, and we'll all likely make it through just fine. Sharon, the best thing about watching my desktop fish is your facial expressions.
He does have good expressions, I know.
Yeah. Kimber says you healed me. And then she went ahead and took it she said it's okay. She goes, I lost my son Nicholas, so she's okay.
All right.
And she goes, yes, so happy. So
yeah, I just and again,
I'm sorry, Kimber, by the way.
Yeah, it's rough, and I mean that's a nightmare for any parent. That's my biggest, and so she experienced it, and obviously I've known some other mothers who've experienced it, and there's a connection of a mother and a boy. There just is, and I remember reading and hearing about the story of a guy that we've all heard of. His name is Jesus, and apparently he would do those things. He would cry with some guy. You might read about him later. But he would take the time and connect, and he would, if someone was needing him to cry, he would cry with them, and it always stuck with me. And so here was a moment where, it wasn't that I was like, well, let me just cry. Like I miss my brother every day. I think about him every day. I named my cat after him. I miss him. I'm about to get a tattoo. I don't have a tattoo. I'm going to get a tattoo of him on me. That's how much I miss my brother. And so
you're an artist. How did you make it this far in the rock and roll world without ever just having one of those drunken nights and go, all right, it's time to get a tattoo?
My parents. I just wasn't raised that way. I have a lot of respect for my parents, and that was not something that was acceptable. And plus, I don't really like following the leader, and so many people have tattoos now, and I don't. So it's kind of like I feel like You know, it's kind of cool to not have.
It's funny you say that because one of the quotes that came from what's his face, Ozzy Osbourne. And I'm going to paraphrase, obviously. How you doing, Dr. Brian? Nice to see you.
Dr.
Hi,
B.
Chelsea.
Dr. P.
Yeah, one of the quotes from him was from Ozzy Osbourne was, "If you want to be different or something, if you want to go against the grain, be a rebel. Don't get a tattoo."
Right.
It was basically because everybody's got them. So if you want to be cool, you want to stand out. Don't get a tattoo.
Yeah, but my thing was gonna be on my back because I just want to always have my back on my back. Like I can't see it, but I'll feel it, and so anytime I just feel him. It's like again staying connected. I've never.
Brian goes, saw the headline and had it to it. Oh, because you haven't seen what I put in the body yet, right?
No.
So here's the body today. Botox in your 20s. Oh, sorry, Brian. By the way, I'm for it. I'm for Botox in your 20s. I'm for Botox in your teens. Go and when you get your Botox done, go see Dr. Brian Bishop. I was getting ready to do commentary on what's wrong with America and what's wrong with the world.
Right. How long have you been doing your job, man? That's a lot of insecurities my man has seen.
But now that actually he's brand new into the industry, because that's my brother-in-law. Now that I realize, because he's a dermatologist, that I'm going to have to change my tune. Hey, go knock yourselves out. Everybody should be getting Botox. Get Botox in your eyes. Get Botox in your cheeks. Get Botox in your butt. Get Botox wherever you can get. They'll give you Botox.
Get it.
Brian goes, love it. Just did my forehead and armpits. Robert goes, I thought everyone has a tattoo. Not everyone, but I do. I've got 2 tattoos, and I'm itching for another one. I think I'm going to tell my wife I want one for my birthday because I have to plan. Because that's be a couple $100. Do you know what my next tattoo is going to be?
One of your dogs.
How'd you know?
Well, your Instagram is your dogs. The dogs are here right now. I would just guess it would be one of your dogs.
That was my wife's last tattoo.
Oh,
it was a little
paw print. That's awesome. Did you just snort?
That's my dad's snort, by the way.
Okay, right.
I started snorting when I laughed, like, I don't know, 6 years ago. I'm like, what? Like about a year before my dad passed, I would laugh and snort. I'm like, what am I doing? That's my dad's snort.
That's awesome, dude. That's really cool. You're always thinking about him.
Well, yeah. So then I have, now, then he passed like a year or two later. And now, yeah, because I'm a little, half crazy. I look at, okay, well, that's a moment that my father's with me. It reminds me of my dad. So anyway, speaking of my dad. The USPS symbol. So my father worked for the post office for years. And not the new one. I want the old school one. So it would look more like... I've got the patch, basically. I've got the patch in my car. Mm-hmm. But basically, these are mostly the newer ones. But it would look closest to this one right here. Except it wouldn't say United States Postal Service around the edge. Mm-hmm. It's just going to be gold stitching around the edge. And I want it to be hyper-realism so that when somebody sees... Because I want to get it on my shoulder, right on my shoulder in the opposite. Because I've got this grenade on this arm, right? I want to get it over here. And I want it to be so good in the I think they call it hyper realism, where you'd want to reach out and touch it, just reach out and.
That's cool.
That's what I want. I want that to be my next.
It's funny, man. I had a conversation with a guy in the gym today. He's all tatted up, but he had this tattoo on the side. It was a face, and I just asked him, I said, hey man, I don't have any tattoos. You look, obviously, where did you go? So there's a woman who was on one of those tattoo shows. Her name is Emily. I forget her last name, but it's off of East Bay. Maybe we can go together and do it.
She's awesome. I know she's
maybe you know who she is.
Yeah, I know who she is.
Yeah, apparently she's obviously really good.
Emily, she was on the
Ink Wars or something like that. Yeah, one of those.
Ink Masters.
There you go.
Ink Masters. So she was a total C word on the show.
Ooh,
on the show. But hold on.
Remember the 2 books. One book she's that, and one book she's awesome.
You're right. So let me make sure I'm thinking of the right person. But Emily from...
Yeah, I want good people to do my tattoo. I don't want anyone who's...
Yeah, that's her. Okay.
That's crazy.
So it's funny. She... You see how she looks there? She looks like kind of a,
Right,
that's exactly the way she acted on the show, too. She did not give a shit. Now, I don't know if it was a character or if she's like a... Listen, by the way, when I bring up narcissists and narcissism, I don't necessarily mean it in a derogatory way. because you have to have that narcissism to ever be a leader, really, of anything.
A level of narcissism,
Right, a level.
Yeah,
of it.
so there's dark and good, just dark and light narcissism. I mean, I have my narcissism,
right?
Of course,
definitely. You're a rock star. You're a lead singer of a band.
It's evolved. It's evolved to the point where now I just want to give, and I love other people, and so it's different. But I mean, still, yeah.
Lisa's saying that Dave Clark in Fort Walton was on Ink Master. He has a Facebook page you can look into.
It's kind of far away though from here.
Yeah, because Emily's right there in Clearwater, and there's a couple of people in town that have been on those shows. Matter of fact, the guy that did this was on one called Best Ink.
Oh, right on. I was thinking about going and getting it done when I was in Hawaii. It's so hard to even say. Jeez, the year anniversary is August 24th, so I'm gonna be in Hawaii then and be with the rest of the family. I'm thinking about getting it done there because the people who know him. I mean, there's apparently a really great tattoo artist out there, and the fact that someone knew my brother, it would be kind of cool to have that, like this, like man, I don't know, something about doing that.
Dr. Brian Bishop says, get a test spot first. Allergies to tattoo ink is no fun.
Where can we get that at, Brian?
You do sound like a doctor now. Well, the funny thing, I mean, he's in his late 20s now,
right?
But he's my wife's little brother, and it's funny that he is so. Get a test spot. Be responsible. Get a little, and make sure you're not allergic to it.
That's actually a really good idea because there's a reason I don't really have any allergies, but maybe that could be it. Who knows? Maybe I'm allergic to that.
All right, so on this day, VE Day is celebrated in America, in Britain on this day in 1945. That was the day after the Germans laid down their weapons. I already went through this. There was just a couple of things that stood out. Woman convicted for tampering with Excedrin, 1988. Does that sound familiar to you?
No.
That sounds vaguely familiar to me. Stella Nickel is convicted on 2 counts of murder by a Seattle, Washington jury. She was the first person to be found guilty of violating the Federal Anti-Tampering Act after putting cyanide in Excedrin capsules in an effort to kill her husband. All right, well, be careful on that stuff. Jeez. Let's see, what's next? DeSoto reaches the Mississippi in 1541. On this day in 1984, the Soviets boycott the LA Olympics. Sean Connery stars in his first Bond movie on this day in what year? What year, Chris? And
I'm going to go...
Don't you look at the TV.
I'm not. I'm going to go... 69?
1963. Do you know which Bond movie it was?
Oh,
I wouldn't know either, by the way.
Not at all.
Dr. No.
Dr. No. That's funny. I say that all the time.
On this day,
right, Dr. No.
On this day in 2010, Betty White becomes the oldest host of Saturday Night Live.
Hey, she had an awesome comeback with her little career.
On this day in 1976, this television show had the #1 song in America. The theme song to this television show in 1976 had the #1 song on the charts.
Can you sing the song?
Without giving it away. Of course.
Wait. What if you just say that? Never mind. I don't know.
Welcome back, Cotter.
Really?
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
But I haven't tried it since
Corey Smith used to come out with that song when I opened up for him. That's Name Drop Tuesday.
Name Drop Tuesday. Happy Days was a good guess. Elliot Hoops.
Happy Days.
Sharon says that's the reason she's never gotten a tattoo before is because she's afraid of the allergy thing because they saw it on the news. Ugly. Oh, what's a little infection?
I can't blame her.
They can take care of that stuff these days. But when I first was doing weddings, this was in the late 80s, in the early 90s, there was this, because I would imagine you had the same kind of thing where when you're doing a wedding, there are some like little mini sets that you put together, 2 or 3 songs back to back to back because they just kind of
just kind of know, right. Absolutely.
So one of the things I used to do is when you get shout, when it's that time for the Isley Brothers shout, put your hands up and shout. Da, 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 da. Well, when it gets towards the end of the song there, and I would slam into the Jeffersons theme song. because it was kind of. I felt like I remember the first. I remember the first day that I even tried it, Chris. Like because I was so nervous about firing off a theme song at somebody's wedding, but it was just like it was kicking me. Just play it. It's gonna work. Trust me. And I was at a country club at Metro West Country Club, like in 1991, doing somebody's wedding, and I was playing shot. And I go, "This is it. I'm gonna do it. Bam! Threw it in there. Well, we're moving on, and everybody's staying on the dance floor. Their hands are going up.
That's awesome.
But I haven't dared pull it out now because now it's been 20 years since I've done weddings, and I don't know if I don't know if it's still
give it
work.
a shot. You know, you can give it a shot, and if it doesn't work out, you just fade it out and put something else on real quickly. Like, hey.
By the way, I'm not like a really good DJ where they have to have these perfect mixes and stuff. If the song's not working, I don't mess around. A song's not working, it clears. I'll go. All right, I literally. I won't even try to be cool about it. I will turn down the music, go, well, I can take a hint, and then fire off the next song.
I was at a wedding. I did his wedding on a boat, and it was the same thing. This guy tried to play I forget what, girl, drop it to the floor, and everyone was like, and he was like, my bad, I thought it would work. And then he just played something else. Yeah. That's funny, man.
No shame in my game.
No shame, brother. No shame at all.
All right, back to...
On this day.
On this day.
I can tell you that it's Meek Mill's birthday. He's 31. George Clooney turned 57, and Chris Paul is 33.
Wow. There you go.
And it's Sonny Liston's birthday too. He's the one who Muhammad Ali beat to get the first championship belt.
Was the Sonny Liston the famous
boxer?
I know. What was that? Is that the picture with Sonny on the ground and
he's like this? Shame on it. Yes.
Right? That's the Do you know the story behind that picture? The next time you see, let me pull it up.
Cool.
Because one of the stories that picture ended up being so great is when you see the picture. Let me pull it up. Ali Sonny picture. Okay.
Yep.
So one of the things that you notice is, it's a conspiracy, by the way. No, it's not a conspiracy. But look, the photographers are all on that side of the ring. All the photographers are on that side of the ring. You'll see, right?
Well,
there's one photographer on this side of the ring, and I don't remember the exact details who this guy was, but I guess he was kind of a rookie or whatever. He did not earn the right to be on that side of the ring where everybody else was. So he was pushed over to the other side of the ring.
I love that.
And so now all the old timers and the people that earned that spot to be in that corner got a picture of Muhammad Ali's ass, while this guy caught one of the most iconic photographs.
Awesome. See how that balances out, man. How that works out.
Yeah,
I love that, dude. I love hearing those stories.
No, it is because those are the things you have to remember when. In those moments when you're getting frustrated and agitated, because the situation is getting out of your control and you're not where you think you need to be. You're not where you think you need to be. Just remember, you never know. Maybe the universe or whatever it is, whatever it is you believe in is trying to push you to the other side of the ring so you can get the shot.
So I'll say this, and for me, when I was on America's Got Talent and they didn't show me on TV.
I remember.
And remember how I was so upset because it was like I was the one dude they didn't show, right? And, we always felt like, if you get seen and it could help and yada, yada. But I was so angry about it that's what made me start looping. And it's funny that looping is why I was able to even open up for Chase and why he wanted me to come to the next spot. Ain't that something?
Yeah.
So
I remember that night too, buddy, because I watched. Me and everybody that knew you watched.
And they were all like, and so, I mean, imagine me and the kids are there and it's just like, it made it look like I wasn't even there. So,
right.
But the good thing was, is like you said, so we had some fans and some friends and posted there were still frames of me in the background at Vegas, so everyone knew I was there.
Right.
And they showed every single act but me. And the only way you can make it make sense, and then it was funny because, now I'll tell everyone the story. There were different categories, as we all know. There was the male vocal category, and then there was the senior category. So there was this one guy who was like 4 foot, maybe like 8, really, really old, and he was in the spot with us as the singers. And they chose him, and they chose a guy who was 50 on his 5th kid and just had a baby born, right? And so they grouped us out. Well, when you watch the TV, what they did was they took that old dude and put him in the old people group. And so they just used the one guy and they put him in, and they acted like I just wasn't even on the show at all. Because you got to remember, my second audition, I was standing. The first audition, I'm sitting down and playing. No looping, just me playing the guitar. And then when I went to Vegas, now I'm going to stand and dance. Well, they didn't know I was doing any of that. And, you don't see it. So all of a sudden I'm doing it, and they had already made their decision. So it's like, we just got to make like that guy didn't even exist. So
that's
because how could you put the old guy and not the dude who's dancing and showing talent? So they just made me like I didn't exist.
And that's one of the things about these reality shows is they're about the show. They're not necessarily about the competition itself. They want to make sure that it's
a television show. It's a television show. They need people. They need ratings, and they need something. So that's what happened there.
So Molly, who's our guest and coming in tomorrow, will be talking social media. She says, "Hey Chris, is it bright in there? Do I need to bring in sunglasses tomorrow?"
If your future is bright like mine, you may need to.
All right, there's your answer.
I'll be here all day.
And thank you so much to Single Source Insurance for being part of the first part of the Wake.Show today. And go to SingleSourceIns.com. SingleSourceIns.com.
So let me break this down about the glasses thing, because obviously it may need to be said. There was a time where I cared a little too much what people thought. Like, we all get into that at some point. And one day, I know that, like, historically my parents were like, it's improper to wear glasses inside or wear a hat inside, and that's just what someone else thinks. So what I did was, as I decided, one day I was younger, I'm just going to wear my glasses inside. I don't care. I'm just going to wear it for me because I want to wear them. And I would look at people and I would see their judging eyes, and I'd see the whole thing. And then you get past that. I got past it and was like, wow. And it was just one thing that I did just for myself to help me get over thinking and caring what other people thought. Then another time I broke my nose playing basketball, and it was just all bad. And instead of having glasses, I took my glasses off and walked through and looked at everyone in the eyes to watch how they looked at me and watch how they reacted. Again, that was just for me and my little personal transformation to, like, it's not about vanity. Look at people, whatever. And it's helped me. And I've actually showed this to other people. So it really helped me get to, in this life, it's so short. If I feel like doing something that feels good to me, I don't want to not do it because of what someone else may think, because other people do dictate a lot of times our own actions and our own happiness, and we've got to get out of worrying what someone else thinks. So there's your glasses situation.
I did something similar, but because of the issues that I have with my weight, I've always had issues with my size.
Me too.
And you've always had issues with my size.
Mm-hmm, I do. I have issues that you have issues, bro.
But a couple years ago, I did the same thing because I noticed that when I was always out in public or around people, I'd always, keep it sucked in, sucked in. And then I finally one day just like lit it out, just kind of let it relax by myself, and I couldn't do it. It was an exercise in breathing, just to allow myself to relax enough in that moment to let my own gut fall onto my lap without me judging myself to the point of wanting to, into my own life. And so then I started to do the same thing in public. I'm like, well, okay, it's one thing. Now you've gotten comfortable with just letting your gut hang out. And I know what you're thinking. Fish, instead of getting comfortable with your gut hanging out, how about making your gut smaller? That's got to be the next step. I had to get over this first one. I had to be okay with me first as is.
See, and that's a beautiful thing, man. And I feel what you're saying, because I'm no stranger to gaining 20 pounds and losing 20 pounds. I just, when I got my knee surgery, I shot up like 30 pounds, man. And then I lost it, and worked so hard to lose it. And then, Ernest died, and I just, who cares about
right
that?
Yeah.
And so now, here I am back and getting myself back together. And I think you're right about that. It's about comfort, and I don't remember where I heard it, but there's two things you can do about your insecurities. You can either run from them, like letting it suck it in,
right,
or you can just destroy them and make them just disappear. There's two things.
It's a process,
and it is a process. It is a process. But
it's not as easy as just making up your mind one day and go, "Oh, I'm not going to let this bother me."
No,
because
it's
so
a decision.
Deep and it goes back so far.
It goes back to a trigger from when you were younger, and it's
right.
about, again, a understanding self. That's the greatest thing you can do, man. To to know why you're here is the greatest weapon you can give yourself in this life, knowing why you're here and being comfortable with yourself. But there is something to be said about the decision, you know, like I believe for you, Chris, I don't, like, for myself, I just think you just have some bad habits. Not to say you're a bad person, not to say, just habits that go along, that don't go with, you know, losing weight. Like, just habits. You know, it's like, remember the donuts were here. Dude, you know, I wanted to eat those donuts. I've been known to go to Krispy Kreme and eat a half dozen like that. You know,
I almost punched you as soon as you told me not to eat another donut. I was like, motherfucker, don't you tell.
Right.
I'll eat. Matter of fact, when you walk out the door, I'm going to eat every goddamn donut in the box.
But you know where that came from, because I overheard you talking to your wife about your weight. So I'm like, I love this dude. I know he doesn't like that. I know this. And I let you eat a couple, but I stopped it and said, okay, that's enough, man, because I love you and I know ultimately you don't want that.
All right.
So anyways.
All right.
Not to be better than anyone or I'm just saying sometimes we're getting
Molly says, I do that with makeup. Try to get friends to post photos with no makeup, but they were too scared. Oh, I know. You couldn't get my wife to do that. There's no way in hell.
There's no way you could have got my ex-wife to do either. And I love that, Molly. But what's your thing, Molly?
We're
bagging
find
on
out
me
tomorrow.
about my glasses.
She said she was joking.
She's coming. There's always truth and jest, baby. I'll be here all day tomorrow. Me and you, girl. Me and you.
Because I hope you know I was just joking.
Baby girl, come on. I'm on stage every day. You think I put myself out there every day? I don't care what people think. I lost that a long time ago. Every day.
Elliot says he went to high school with the single source guy's sister.
Did you hook up with her? Don't lie.
No.
Elliot got that.
That wasn't it. Elliot's been with his wife since, I want to say, they were like 10. No, it wasn't.
How long have they been together, Elliot?
I think they've been together since they were 16 or 17, I think. I think so, anyway.
Listen, I would have loved to have had that story.
Before I punch you for not letting me eat donuts, Robert wants to know, what kind of donuts were they? They were not your over the counter. They weren't Dunkin' Donuts. They were
gourmet.
Yeah,
they were, and man, it was difficult to say no for me. Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it was. Is I kept every time I went for one, it would annoy him because he wasn't going for one.
But I get it, man. Like, I'm addicted to sugar, dude. Look, I'm popping Altoids right now on the show. I'm addicted to sugar. Just had to find my which one works for me the best.
All right, so I've got our quote of the day today.
Bring it.
All right, our quote of the day today comes from Abraham Lincoln. Do I not destroy my enemies when I make them my friends? There's two ways to destroy your enemies. One is to
kill them,
eradicate them. One is to make that enemy your friend. And I just thought that was a good one.
I do like that. But sometimes your best friend can be your enemy, and your worst enemy your best friend.
Are you saying things that drive you? Like, so, you know, you have your arch nemesis. So Superman had, you know, Lex Luthor. Michael Jordan had that coach, you know, that JV coach that he could make his enemy and constantly keep there and stay focused.
I was quoting Bob Marley, but there is some truth to. No, you know what? Here you go. My best friend Andrew, I love him. Ooh, he's great. He will remember this. What pushed me to become who I am today with music is I was publicly embarrassed when I was like 17 or 16, something like that, and by my high school. And I used that motivation. It was all I could keep saying was, I'll show you. I'll show you. And then the next day I brought my guitar to school and I wouldn't talk to people because I didn't trust any of them. And I knew that, you know what, F all y'all, I'm going to go do this and I'll show you. And I mean, I'm talking teachers are laughing and the whole 9 yards. And so,
well, how did they shame you?
Here we go.
That's all right. Hey, get it. It's all right. It's one of those vulnerable moments.
Yeah, no, be vulnerable. It's what it was.
By the way, Elliot says, he was 17. They've been together since he was 17.
That's sick. How old are you guys now?
15 years now.
Ooh, 32. Bring it. So I'm an intelligent dude, right? And for, I don't know what it was. I think I was in 6th grade. I didn't really read a whole bunch. And I read, there were 2 times I was forced to read this entry that my Phil had written, and I had to read in front of people, and I said conscience instead of conscience. And everybody laughed, right? And I didn't want to read anymore. I didn't want to get in public anymore, and I thought I was dumb. And I convinced myself that I was dumb. And then when later In 7th grade.
By the way, that's one of those moments that has led to, in the future, you text the way you text. If you mess up a word, you have to go back and correct
that.
it.
Thank you for bringing that up. It's awesome you brought that up. I did not think about that. And then in 7th grade, MC Hammer was coming into, it was the hottest ticket. MC Hammer, Boyz II Men, Jodeci. And my parents said, you cannot go to this concert unless you get on the honor roll. I had not done that yet. So I studied and studied and studied, and I was really kicking. I mean, I was acing tests, and it was really cool to see myself, like, so eventually, and I'm in the front row, MC Hammer, little kid, like dreaming big, right? And then the following year, my parents got divorced. And that summer, I was the vice president of the student council. My parents got divorced, and I was not allowed to tell anyone about it, which is what started me going a little crazy in my head.
What do you mean? You weren't allowed to tell anybody?
I wasn't. My parents, well, my mother was like, I don't tell anyone about it. They were very into just not like secrets. So
wait, you were student council president?
I was.
No, what happened?
I was student council vice president going into the 8th grade.
And then your parents wanted you to keep that hush hush.
And then also going in before school started, my parents, and I was at summer camp, right? And this is like me learning about my high-low issue. Like I'm really like highs and lows. So I'm in summer camp, loving life. It was amazing. And when I come back, it's like, why do we have bunk beds? Where's this? Kids, your father and I got divorced. Right. And of course, I blame myself for it.
Right.
And I'm not going to explain those reasons. There's some things that will stay in the family, but I blame myself for it.
Well, I think that's pretty common, right? With a lot of kids, they blame themselves.
Well, I'm sure they do. And so with not having a therapist, and people would advise my parents to have the kids speak to therapists, but my parents wouldn't do it because I guess they were too proud or whatever. I don't know. And so I went nuts just in my head, not being able to talk to anyone about it. So 8th grade comes, and now I'm getting D's and F's. And again, thinking I'm dumb, going back into all that, and I got kicked off of student council. But no one knew that my parents were divorced. No one really asked, like, this kid's getting A's and B's and, like, occasional C+ in math. Here, why all of a sudden does he get D's and F's? No one asked. I mean, now looking back on it,
it's a different time, though. I think these days, when that kinds of stuff happens, the school's on top of the kids that,
Well, if a school cares, I don't think that they really cared. I don't think they did. We can go further than that. But so anyway, so that was the first part of, public humiliation, and no one caring, whatever. And so then in 10th grade, I was the only sophomore to make the varsity basketball thing. Cause like when I love something, I really get into it. Like music, you can see it as parenting, you can see it as a friend. Like I want to be the best. It's just for me. And I really didn't care for school too much, and I got an F. I failed a class, right? Biology. And I was kicked off a team. Well, you get suspended, but it was interesting how they handled me, because there was another girl who had the same thing, but she was still allowed to go to travel. She was still allowed to be in the pictures, but I was just off. Like they didn't have me on anything. So here comes the student, the pep rally deal. And they have the cheerleaders are all there, and they got our jerseys on, and someone's got my jersey on, and so then it's my turn. They do, hey, so and so, blah blah blah. It's my turn, and this kid dressed up as the principal comes out and goes, "What are you doing here? You can't be here. Get out of here!" Right? And then he
said that to you.
He says it like to the girl on the skit. The skit. The girl was wearing my jersey. All the cheerleaders were wearing. Each guy had a jersey.
Okay,
and there would be.
So you were the butt. Joke. You were the butt of a joke,
right?
Of a skit.
Of a skit of me failing out, but no one really understood what was really going on with me. And so here I am, feeling like shit, and I'm watching, and I'm in the back of the place, and I just got a chance to scan and look at parents. Look at the teachers, look at the kids, look at everybody taking that moment to laugh at me for something that, what if I had a disability? What if no one really talked to me about it? No one really asked. Teacher knew what was going on. He didn't say anything. No one really, not to be like conspiracy. Bottom line, it was me. I'm not trying to be a victim. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to be doing. I was too into playing basketball.
But it's weird that they were allowed to do a skit where the skit was based around a student being kicked off a team because of bad grades.
Well, I mean, no offense, and
none taken.
Look, I just know when I went and played basketball at one spot where there are no black people that live there, and every time I touched the ball, people were making monkey noises. groups of people can get weird. They can just get weird, and you can show your true colors.
Was this at that private school?
Private school.
So,
right.
So you feel it was racially motivated?
I don't say it was racially motivated. I think that there are, if you don't have a lot of experience with outside of your own color or whatever it may be, you can misunderstand things. Like a lot of times when I'm walking and I go head to head with someone, I hear, "Oh, sorry," when I'm saying, "Excuse me, sorry for we're doing the same thing." There's a fear thing. Like, I'm gonna beat you over the head. I'm not gonna hit you, dude. Like, sorry. Like, dude, what? You're trying to get on me.
I've heard you say that before. I think sometimes
I'm just saying
you might be a little hypersensitive to those moments.
And you know what? All I know is I would not like it to be that way, because there's nothing in me that wants anyone to fear me for any reason or fear anyone. I've seen that. I've seen the excuse me's. I've seen the look, the energy. And sometimes people say I'm an intimidating guy. I don't know what they've seen. I don't know what they've seen.
Well, you're a huge presence. It has. And
I hear that a lot too. Like, I have energy. You walk in, and it's like, people are like, dude, this guy is in that. Like the kids. I get it. I understand. I don't want it to be. I don't ever want to call angry black man. I don't like that. I don't like colors, man. I think, it's just another way to keep us apart. All I'm saying is at that moment, this is what happened at that school. I believe
let's not talk about the motivation behind it, because we don't know. Let's just talk about how it affected you.
I think it was just a chance to bag on some kid that really talked a lot, that was really out there a lot, and easy target, and easy to not like, and easy to misunderstand. And I believe that, because it's at that school. I don't think a lot of kids really liked me at that school, but I would go to summer camp, and I was the most popular dude at summer camp. So every year I'd go to, like, it'd be like me, like Harry Potter, like, oh God, I got to get to school. Woo! Now I'm Harry. But over here it's not. So, but it was the opposite. I go to summer camp, and that's where Chris McCarty was made, really, to tell you the truth. So
the day after this pep rally, you're feeling like.
So I'm saying I'll show you. I will show. Oh, really? You got to understand, there are no accidents. This is my walk. I'm here. I'm doing a lot of things that was supposed to happen. So I got a chance to look at to see the truth, to see how people really thought, and be like, wow, okay, well, know what? I'll show you. And that was just I'm very competitive with myself. So that's when I started bringing the guitar to school. And I'll show you. I'm going to prove to you that I'm bigger and better than you could even think, and blah, blah, blah.
So it's very similar, or not, well, similar in a sense to the Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan story that we're talking about, that, when he got cut from the JV team, that was it. It became a sticking point for the rest of his life.
Yes. It's just like, and so then is it any coincidence that, I do the music thing, and then I go back to the school? I had this band, a big band. We got second place in Conan O'Brien's National College Band Search. It's Logan Tree and blah, blah, blah. And I'm playing to 2,000 people. And I go back to the school, and all those little kids are like, woo. And the teachers are like, And it's funny to have them come to me and ask me if they can buy my CD. It was a full circle thing for me. I needed it. Then it was like, okay, well, now what? Because that was something that fueled me. And like, again, like, no hard feelings, all good. I'm glad, look at where I'm at. And it's just, but that was who I was at that time.
Sharon, a teacher, says, I think if a student is getting good grades and something changes, like getting kicked off a student council, I'm going to ask what is going on.
Thank you.
A lot of times, though, like with you, Chris, the kid says, I don't want to talk about it. And what can you do then? Sometimes I get in touch with the parents, but want anyone to know, then there is nothing a teacher can do. Most parents tell us when something is going on.
And so I say to you, there are only like 2 teachers that I really loved at that school. Like, I didn't, it is what it is. No one asked. And that's why I'm saying, me at this point, I just like Sharon saying, like, I would, like, you have to look at that and be like, what is this? But the teacher, and they say not to talk ill about someone who's passed away, but I just say the teacher who passed away did not like me. And there are some kids or adults now who were in the classroom with this teacher who was berating me about just even the clothes that I was wearing. Like, what the? You're a 13-year-old kid. What are you doing to some kid? Just like, whoa.
I went back to rub some, Chris, I went back to rub something in the face of my a teacher in the 12th grade. So it's my senior year, the English teacher. He did not like me. Mm-hmm. And, there was a couple of I was a class clown, but I never got in trouble. I knew how to walk the line, make the teacher laugh too. Make the teacher laugh and make the kids laugh.
True.
I could tell when to cut it.
Yeah.
And I never got in trouble. Like all the other kids that were trying to do what I did, they would all get in trouble.
Yep.
And in my head, I'm like, how are you so dumb? You have to make the teacher laugh too. But anyway, but Mr. Show, for whatever reason, did not like me. And I don't need to bore you with any of the details leading up to it. It was just really the only time in my career, my schooling, that something like this was happening. So I even went and asked him about it once. So after the year after high school, I'm in community college, Valencia Community College. And I'm just crushing it in this English class, right? And the professor is pulling out my papers to read to the class as examples of what she wants. And so I'm feeling pretty good about myself and thinking, F you, Mr. Show, for always mother effing me on my grades. And so I went back to the school, to West Orange High School, I was there for some businesses when I was DJing. I was DJing their prom or homecoming or something. And I went to track down my old teacher to see how he was doing and give him a little piece of my mind at 18 years old. And he was dead. But it's a moment to this day that is still a very powerful moment that will pop up in my head every now and again about revenge, about focusing on the negative to accomplish something. And so I think I learned a lesson in the end. No, listen, Michael Jordan, if that's what one of the main motivating factors was, this anger, this hatred.
Well, mine was
I'm going to show you.
Yeah, proving you wrong. Just proving you wrong. But think about that. But
think about that too, Chris. You can get hung up on shit. You don't need to get hung up just because your ego got in the way, and now you have to go prove. You got to go prove this story over here, and the next thing you know, 30 years later, you're going, "What the F did I do?"
Right, and I understand that. I mean, there's even if you've seen Jahani, right?
Yeah,
he walks into anyone, he'll just hug you. Daddy, I'm a hugger. And I would hug people. Do you know that at one point, and people don't know this, I didn't tell people this, at one point, that school made me sign some document that I would not hug anyone at that school. There's not a person alive that could sit there and say that I've ever done anything to take advantage or done. There's not a person walking this planet that could say that. But that happened to me.
Because when you would go to school, you would hug the other little kids.
I'd be hugging everybody, dude.
Right?
I'm a huggy dude. I look at me.
I'm with you.
The dog.
So am I.
You saw me tugging the dog. Hey, dog. Like, yo,
I'm huggy.
And so I'm saying, it's like, and the guy who was behind that, there was a level of me wanting to go back and be like, how could you do that to single me out? Like, what?
And I wonder if this is the sign of the times. Like maybe it was you and a dozen other people had to sign something just because of the sign of the times.
Just me, dude. I asked my boys after that. I mean, we graduated with 39 people. We know everybody. And it's foul, man. But that happens. So I'm just saying to you, there are people who don't like you for whatever reason they don't like you. I don't know what to tell you.
Well, there's one thing you can do, and that's get Botox.
But again, it's like it's for me to go to schools and go and the good deed dies when you talk about it, right? For this situation here, it's like to prove people wrong and show who I am. You just have to do it. So when I'm going to schools and I'm going little kids who are autistic and going to kids with cancer camps and that's me. And eventually whatever they thought, just by your actions, not your words, your actions will show. And so anyone I'm sure my wife there are people on this planet that really are convinced that I cheated on my ex-wife. Didn't do it. So one thing that I said in that, I was like, you can think what you want, but I will, in front of God, but my career, may I be nothing more than just playing at sports bars for the rest of my life if I cheated on you in front of God. And I said, when things work out for me, you'll know I didn't. But there are people who probably think that I did. So all I can do is just, when it happens, and it's happening.
You're a man of faith. By the way, James, it was good to see you the other night. I ran into him in a golf party. He says, I love this man. Definitely be listening, watching daily.
Cool. Thanks, James.
As a man of faith, Chris, the way that I see things, even though what I believe in differs very drastically from what most people believe in, but I believe in something.
That's good.
is that in those moments you really got to not focus on what those friends, those so-called friends were, or people from your past, because they're going to think this, or they may like me or not like me, my actions this. You have to, I think you look past that, and because what you're trying to do, if you believe what you say you believe, then you're not trying to make anybody happy on this world. You're not trying to appease every person. You're trying to appease the gods. You're trying you're trying to be that spiritual being that you think you are.
Yes. And so there was a time in my life where I was, and this is part of my mommy issues, but always trying to be like, here, this for you, and what do you, and there are a lot of people in this world that you live your life and you're always trying to please somebody, people pleasers. Deep down, y'all know what I'm talking about. And so part of the struggle, or my walk, was overcoming that. And as you say, and part of it was conversations with God. Like, you know, I tell people in relationships, you know, when your girl, to all the guys out there, if your girl says, we don't go to the movies, do not go to the movies because she says that. Because what's happening is now you're going to end up running into, that's not what's going to make them happy. Like, oh, I went to the movies. You never find someone go, I went to the movies and now I'm good. We went to that one movie and now I'm good. It's going to be something else, something else, something else, something else. It's got to be wait. You're making, and that's what I mean. Like, it's never enough. It's never enough. So we got to be careful with that. And so again, I'm done trying to please human beings that it's never enough for them. It's not fast enough, or this texting, AT&T, my phone doesn't work. Like, it's never enough for people. So now with all of that and getting married and getting divorced and trying your best and it not happening, I'm just like, dude, enough's enough. So you're right. Now I just want to please that. And when I go back to heaven, this is just my beliefs. When I go back to heaven, I just want him to be like, good job, son.
Good job, well done.
Yeah, I want, and taking from the quote we said yesterday, for those of you who weren't in yesterday, all I really want at this point now is,
I believe you just stole a Spice Girls lyric.
Tell what you want. What I really would like is, when I die, for all the people who, the ghouls in hell, to be happy that I'm no longer here, fighting and helping. That's what I want. And so to live in that. So again, I'm just trying to bring people back to that. That's it. I don't care anymore.
So as Chris, about 1 minute ago, he brought up Conversations with God again. I went ahead and grabbed the book that he brought in for me today, that he got for me. And so I was like, all right, I'm just going to read a random passage. So I grabbed the book, as he mentioned it again. And then I go, what? Because he said, look up something in the index when something pops in your head. Well, right at that point, you were talking about relationships. So I go, all right, I'm going to look up relationships. Well, the first thing, as soon as I open the book, in the top left-hand corner, the first words I see is relationships. So,
I got to be back. Use the bathroom. Dude.
He's going to use the bathroom.
I want my gallon of water thing. I'll be back.
All right, go. So I'm going to turn to, let's see, Get Lost In, or Relationships to God, Greatest Gift from God. All right, we're going to turn to page 24 when he gets back. But for right now, let's read some of the stuff from the comments. And by the way, thank you so much for supporting the Wake.Show. It really means a lot to us. As most of you know, I did radio for 25 years and had an amazing run. But the last few years, I feel like there's a way to do this stuff here on the internet, using all the platforms that are available to you, and not just do radio so I can sit here and be my own little narcissist and babble on all day long and go, hey, look at me, look at me, I'm the center of attention. It's using that part of me to build a community and build a group of people that hopefully along the way we go, all right, Chris and I want to be able to do stuff out in the community, and put together, small events where people can come together, have a good time, listen to music, enjoy some food and drink and camaraderie.
Yeah, and enjoy life, man. Eat, drink, and be merry.
Yeah, and make positive impacts in our community and help organizations along the way. Use our forum in our community to help organizations that are trying to do the same thing, whether it's people like Pet Pal, Animal Shelter in St. Pete, or the Dear Jack Foundation, helping young adults, kids and young adults with going through cancer situations. So, but let's read a couple of things before we move on. James, I'm a hugger, and I tell everyone I love you.
Yep.
And I was also asked at a job site not to tell other men that I love them.
You want to check this out? You want to go one step further? I was at Boggy Creek Gang Camp. I was and at one point, I connect with kids, man. And at the last day, these kids are leaving, and I got emotional. You know, I got really attached to them. And do you know that one of those counselors came to me and said, "Don't cry in front of the kids"? And it was like, what? You want me to?
What camp was this? Was this Camp Psychopath?
Man, well, it's not one of the. Obviously there was some jealousies there. Obviously, why would you tell someone to not show emotion to these kids who
knows? But
I
think I've learned to quit trying to apply motivation to other people. I just take the moment and go, okay, well, I don't know what it could be. This, it could be that, but
it has nothing to do.
Weird
it has
right
nothing to do with me. It has to do with you. Like,
right.
And I learned that in the 4 agreements. A lot of times, like, people will have something they'll say. That has nothing to do with you. When someone's coming at you and says something negative to you, remember, guys, it has nothing to do with you. That's something that they're dealing with.
Right,
don't take it personally. Even the good stuff they say, don't take it personally. Of course, someone's going to say something nice to you when they like you. Of course, don't take it personally. It'll keep you balanced. You're never as bad as they are. They're never as good as they are. You stay in the middle, you're good.
A couple things, Molly. Chris, what size shoe does your daughter wear?
10. Thank you.
10. Sharon, the teacher, says, your story breaks my heart. I want everyone to love teachers. And I've had students who hate me for whatever reason. They know they have power now that parents complain and the teacher gets in trouble. I've gotten in trouble for things that have never happened. Hold on, I want to click to see more.
That's just sad,
I got to see more.
That's just sad.
That never happened because students have lied about me.
Yep.
I don't have many years left teaching, but it would be nice if they came back and said they were sorry one day.
Yeah.
I doubt it'll ever happen, but I have to let it go. Nikki says, I appreciate
it's crazy because I and this how I am just naturally. I just want to take that from you and make it okay. And I don't really. It's like, okay, what could be the reason for it? It's like, I don't know. I don't know why they did that. I don't know. And it's sad because that was them trying to thwart you. But then you think, I don't know, Joe Clark, like, you keep on doing you. And it's like, I don't know, babe. I don't know, Sharon. I'm so sorry to hear that. It stinks. It sucks.
Like, being a cop or a teacher, I don't know how or why you guys do it. There's not enough money or appreciation that goes your way.
Not at all, dude.
The only times people are listening, hearing your names is when you've slipped up and you're getting caught up in something. Is the only times the public's hearing your names.
Yeah, and it's one of those things with the bad apple situation, man. Like, there are good cops, but there's like those bad apple cops that make everyone, like, make me at least think twice. Same as there are good teachers, and there's like, I told you about the teacher who was berating me like that. Like, what the? Who does that? Like, but I also told you about the teacher who set me on this path to do this, and then even you, Sharon. I mean. I don't know. It's rough. It's a rough situation.
So Nikki says, I appreciate the jobs teachers do. My teachers back in the day were awesome. I often see/hear my younger cousins or nephews saying they're tired of teachers pushing their opinions or beliefs on them. Notice I say pushing. My nephew shouldn't have to hear his teacher bashing our president of the United States.
I agree.
It's okay to have their opinions, but that's uncalled for.
I agree. There's too much. And that's the thing. It's like that we're just such a whiny time. It's so strange. Everyone bleeds. Like, think about this. I've been telling you guys these stories, and here I'm saying everyone bleeds. No one has ever heard any of this on Facebook. I don't do that. I'm doing it now because maybe it's the time for me to, like, just, I've got a lot of success, a lot of fans, and people don't really know me. So maybe this is now the time that I'm kind of more sound to kind of share these things. But I feel like we as a whole, we need to stop complaining and like, dude, yes, okay, we could have a better president, okay, and these little kids, what dude, teach them math. Teach them the subject, like, we know, like, okay, I don't know, man, I don't know, we just gotta self-police, man.
Well,
self-police somehow.
But it's also interesting times we live in because the personality of the president that we have is very polarizing, but it doesn't matter who would have gotten in. Either way,
someone's going to complain.
Yes. Considering who he's running against, America, this was going to happen one way or another. We were going to have a polarizing president one way or another this time around. Very polarizing.
Both were like
either way around. So. Ryan says, I wish we could go back to the days when politics and religion were topics you did not discuss in public. It's interesting you say that, Ryan.
Yeah, I was thinking, I get what he's saying.
I disagree.
I disagree as well, but it's like, but I understand what he's saying because it's like the negativity, and he's probably getting tired. Well, some of us are kind of getting tired of it. Like, and I get what he's saying, yet that is like, that's eating the blue pill, and everyone, you can eat the blue pill if you want, but I still feel like
the blue pill means you stay ignorant, right?
Yeah, you stay like,
so that's
like
what I
bliss.
think. That right. That's
what he's saying ultimately is that he just wants peace, man, and that is why I feel you on that.
Yeah, I agree. Good job, Chris. Well done on that one.
Hey, man, thanks, man.
All right, so let's hit a couple of these topics today. I do have some client stuff that I got to take care of this afternoon. So this is something we alluded to we mentioned at the beginning of the show, and Dr. Brian Bishop hopped on board because he is a dermatologist and he wanted to know what he was going to say about it. But now that he's not here, I can tell you how I really feel about it. This is sad, man. This hurts my soul, and I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah.
26-year-old makes Botox injections part of her beauty routine, and this is a story about how more and more millennials, people in their 20s. And I know that we're all insecure, and I know that, man, if there was a magic wand and you could take my love handles away, I'd go just like that. And you're like, well, there is. No. I said magic wand, not the surgery you have to go through where I have to chance death in order to get my love handles taken off. And so, yeah, here we go. This is just I'll tell you where my brain starts. That we have it so good, that things have gotten so good in the West, but we can't see it. We're still driven by fear, and that we're fear that we're not good enough, fear not perfect enough, that now in our 20s, Chris, the writing was on the wall when I was dating a woman. This was before my wife, obviously. And the writing was on the wall for me. I can't even say that. It was a moment that stood out when she was barely in her 30s, not flawless. And she is talking to me about getting Botox, and I'm looking at her eyes going, what the fuck is wrong with you? You are insane.
Yeah.
No, but you can't see that. And I'm like, look, but it looks better if you do this. I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this. Goodbye.
I can't be with you. I know. I can't. I agree with you. That's sad. That's a sad story, bro. That's a lack of love and of self.
But I guarantee you that there's going to be Botox parties within my family now that there's a doctor in the family. I guarantee you my wife, before she's 40, will have had Botox, even though the whole time I will. And I'm never going to tell anybody what they can and can't. I'm not going to be, you either choose me or the Botox. That'll never be me.
No.
But I will go kicking and screaming down that path because my wife is gorgeous.
Yeah.
She is perfect the way she is. She is perfect now. She was perfect 5 years ago when I met her. She'll be perfect 10 years from now if we have 15 kids. By the way, I'm just being absurd.
Wouldn't she be so proud if she was the one person who just didn't do it? Like me and the tattoo thing,
But we're driven by other things. It's so deep. That's why we'll keep coming back to, I don't think we make the choices we think we make, because we're in our brains, we're pushed in certain directions, going back further than our memories.
There's a section in there about self-love, by the way.
All right, so here we go. Self-love.
You want self-love? You want the relationships?
Well,
if I read the relationship, I mean, listen, I've read that book so many times. It's like me preaching. I can get you moving and feeling it. Like, whoa.
So since I picked up this book at the same time you're talking relationships, and I thought, all right, well, let me turn to the index and go to relationships. And the first page, I don't even have to flip. I opened up to a page where at the top of the page said relationships. We're going to go with that, but I'm going to go with the third one down.
Let me cut you off real quick. By the way, in the book, it will tell you that sometimes you'll even put the book down and pick it back up, and then you'll start reading about something that's going on in your life. That happened to me a couple of times, which is why I stood up, because there were a couple of times I would stop and I happened to read it, and what I read helped me with what I was dealing with at that time. It's just magic. So go ahead.
All right. So I'm going to turn to page 24 then, because that's the third one down. Greatest gift from God is relationships. I'm assuming is what this is going to be about. And 24 was my baseball number, so it's one of my special numbers.
I like that. So, Jackie Robinson. He's 42. Excuse me.
42. But
dyslexic.
Which is funny because as soon as he says 42, I turn to page 42.
Oh, look at that. Listen, man. I tell you guys about magic in life. Now, for those who don't know the story about how, I'm going to say it real quickly. This book popped into my bag. I had Conversations with God, Volume 2, and I had Catch Me If You Can. I was reading Volume 2, and I wanted Volume 1. I wish I had it. Went to a friend's house, came back, opened my bag, pulled out the book, started reading it, didn't know where I was, closed the book. Volume 1 appeared in my book, in my bag. Volume 2 is there as well. I would never have started it the other way around. I don't know how it happened. It's just what it is. And I believe in miracles ever since then.
All right, here we go.
And look at this.
And feel free to stop me or chime in as I
or
go here.
Log off if you don't like it.
Or what?
Or log off if you don't want to hear it.
Well, no, I like to see double digits up there. Please don't.
No, I'm just saying.
I'm going to go further. Now, this nothing which holds the everything is what some people call God. All right, well, I'm already in because I see everything from that perspective. Everything is stretched. All reality, all everything is stretched between nothing and everything. So, all right, I'm in.
All right.
Yet that is not accurate. Oh, well, screw you. Now I'm out.
You're so stupid. You're so stupid.
That's what it goes.
Keep going.
It goes, now this nothing which holds the everything is what some people call God. Yet that is not accurate either, for it suggests that there is something God is not. Namely, everything is not nothing.
Let me say this. Where you are in that book is probably the most... You have to slow down and think. The rest of it is pretty much easy, but I know exactly where he's at. This is like... Just go ahead. Just throw that out
now,
there.
I will say
I don't want
that
to throw anyone off.
In these first words, these first sentences... I don't have to slow down because this is speaking directly to what I call my crazy.
Cool.
The way that I perceive everything. So this actually is really
perfect.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
But I am all things, seen and unseen. So this description of me as the great unseen, the no thing, or the space between, an unessentially Eastern mystical definition of God, is no more accurate than the essentially Western practical description of God as all that is seen. Those who believe that God is all that is and all that is not are those who understand, whose understanding is correct. Okay, so this just affirmed the way that I see things. God, if in a sense, because I really hate speaking in those terms. You know why I hate speaking in those terms? Using the term God, Chris.
And using the term hate. Go ahead.
What?
Using the term hate as well. Go ahead.
Why I don't like to use the term God is because as soon as you say God, people automatically have a perception of what they think I'm talking about. Right.
Yes, exactly. Because everyone has their own definition of God, like everyone has their own definition of love. Right. Go ahead.
Now, in creating that which is here and that which is there, God made it possible for God to know itself. In the moment of this great explosion from within, God created relativity. The greatest gift God had ever given to its... Well, okay, this is how I see the universe, so now I'm getting a little weirded out. Thus, relationship is the greatest gift God ever gave you, a point to be discussed in detail further. From the no-thing, thus sprang the everything, a spiritual... Chris, did I ever... I know that I've shared with you this poem before. A poem that I wrote a long time ago.
Yeah, I think so.
It goes... Well, I always F up the stuff that I have once written, so let me pull it up in my notes, okay? And I'll also show you that I... but it's a poem about when nothing became everything. Mm-hmm. It's, by the way, it's nothing like... It's more... It's meant to be very simplistic.
Right.
All right.
Sugar Rush.
Nothing. I think the story of nothing and how nothing became everything. Where'd you go? All right, I'm gonna have to do it by memory.
I am so happy that this is happening right now.
Oh, here we. Actually, this is the longer version. This is the. I'll give you the short version first. The short version is nothing had no idea what it was, so it decided to search for the answer. In that first thought, that first thought, and the colors it brought. Now nothing, capital N, is nothing, lower N, forever.
What's so beautiful about that is that's what's in that book.
That's what I just read.
And there's more. He even talks about it being the little light that it needed to know itself. So it boom, and it did that. Exactly. And so when I told you from a long time ago, I said, yeah, you do. You believe in it. You do. I said, you're talking the same thing, but go ahead.
All right. So here's, I guess, the longer version that I was trying to flesh out, because started as a little tiny poem to try to explain the way that I was seeing everything. And
yes.
I couldn't explain it with, A's, B's, C's, E's equals MC nothings,
square.
Yeah, right. Because I don't have that knowledge. So nothing's everything. Before the beginning, before nothing became something, before nothing was everything, nothing was the only thing. For nothing, however, it wasn't good enough being the only thing, the everything, the perfect thing. Nothing had to know what it was. And in that exact moment, the instant that nothing wondered what it was, nothing created everything, an infinite amount of everythings. The colors, the sounds, music, smells, nothing was mesmerized, peering in amazement and absorbing all the sensations that came along with creative everything. But then, less than a moment after the creation of everything, Nothing recoiled in terror and sadness, realizing what it had done, what it had become. Nothing, capital N, was now nothing, lowercase n, forever.
So I'll say this: you took it to another spot, but it's kind of like us. Are we not creating our own lives to figure out who we are and doing things to know more of who we are? Like you have these dogs. You think the dogs are kind of you. You wanted to get the house painted in this color because that is you're knowing more about who you are, and then you're creating this show. And now with this show, are we not doing the same thing?
I think you and I are, but
many people across the board are.
Right, but we're in that creative category. You know, and I don't think most of the people that are probably in our comment section here think the way you and I think as we are doing stuff in our daily lives.
I wouldn't discredit, not saying to discredit them, but I wouldn't sell them short. I think all the people who are watching this show are just like us. That's why they're watching it.
That's a good point. That's a good point, too. All right, well, let's get to... so that was very interesting, by the way. That was very interesting. I can't wait to get back into that book now.
I can't wait for you, too. I got you.
I know that you knew, and I know you know. I know already. I don't need to thank you, or you already know that you knew that I was going to pick this up and go,
But what I'm saying is what, again, there are no accidents. Maybe the person that the way you are, the way your mind thinks, maybe you needed to see that happened, the relationship part, and then pick that number, and then 42, and then you turned to 42 and you went to your favorite number, and maybe you needed that to be like, well, let me listen a little bit more. Maybe that's what you needed. And I'm telling you, maybe I needed shock therapy too, to open my book and go, oh my, because when that happened, listen, there was nothing in me that wasn't going to listen to that. Like, you got to imagine that, Chris. Imagine that book just ended, imagine, that sounds crazy, dude.
I've had similar stuff in my life.
Of course, at that point, you're going to listen to everything that book said. And I'm just saying, and I think another thing, a lesson that I want to say for everyone, patience, time, it's a marathon, it's not a race. Thank you, Angela. It's a marathon, not a race. And I never pushed. Chris and I have been friends for years. I never pushed an agenda. I just waited. The time will come. The time will come and it'll naturally happen. And here we are. It happened yesterday, and it was like, okay, I'll tell the story. And then we talked about road rage. And that's how this whole thing happened. And now look at that book. I've been, of course, wanting to share this with everybody, but I don't push it.
Here's a couple things.
Yeah! You're the man.
What's going on? Is that your new chair?
Thank you, brother.
Is that?
Dude. My God.
How you doing?
My guy.
Cords just walked in. So what's this here?
What it is it's a chair. See, people are gonna be like, why is he freaking out about a chair? So this chair, as we all know, I play, and when I had my knee surgery, I had to sit down, and sometimes when I play at places, the chairs are very and they're not comfy, and it hurts my knees and my back. I'm really feeling it. And there are these chairs downstairs, and they were perfect. And I mentioned to him, "Hey man, where'd you get those chairs?" He tells me, and so look what he did. This is someone thinking about you, and on his own side, just went ahead and picked it up for me, and I'm so grateful, man. And that's what I mean, like connecting, like.
Thinking about other people.
Thinking about other people, and it made me feel special. And all that does is make me want to do something more for him. And I think that's what it's about, man. Just thinking about doing other people. And that's why I love working here with you guys. They're awesome. Thanks, Words. Man, I can't wait.
That's awesome.
I can't wait. Thank you so much, bro.
Back to the comment section. All right, we got to wrap this up. I've got some client stuff to take care of here. In about less than 45 minutes that I've even. I know we didn't
log on to watch this guy talk about a chair. Come on.
Oh, we got to wrap this up now because I think I got to take care of some stuff at 1:30 today.
Okay.
Which doesn't give me very much time.
We got time. Like I said, everybody, it's a marathon. It's not a race. Keep coming back. Chris and we've gone through some things. I have lots of stories in my life. He's got lots of stories in his life, and we're gonna keep on sharing and keep on giving. And there's a reason we're here, and we're figuring all that reason out together. And we're just so grateful that you guys are here and helping us figuring it out. And keep coming back and share because we all need help.
Lori says there is someone listening who thinks similarly. Good point, Chris. There's been a little bit of a discussion about Botox and about teachers, but again, Botox in the lips was a really bad idea for my lip lines. I still can't suck out of a straw or make the duck face, LOL. That comes from Lisa. Now Nikki goes, I want Botox now. And
oh, no, sorry, Nikki.
So Sharon wants to know, besides the book, Chris, do you talk to God on your own at night when you're alone? When do you have conversations with God?
All the time.
Yeah.
I like.
When does God answer back?
All the time. Like, how about this? When I was in Hawaii, man, I'm trying to keep it together. I was in Hawaii. We went to get ice cream, right? And one of the songs that Ernest and I grew up with was "I Wish It Was a Little Bit Taller."
Wish it was taller. Wish
and
I
we're
had a
at
girl
this,
who would look,
yeah,
look
we're at
good,
this
who
little
was
spot, and they're
taller.
playing, and all of a sudden the song comes on, and I go, "Oh my!" You know what I mean? Like, it'll say in the book that God speaks through songs, television, people will come through, and if it's all God, then God's always talking, and if you listen, you'll know. It's just like why I decided to play that song to Chase, and now look at what's happening. And when that song really starts to take off, look at what else is going to be happening. I think God is always talking. You just have to maybe quiet the noise, and you'll hear it. A song will pop up. Well, you guys know what I'm talking about. You guys have all seen it. I'm not special. We've all seen it.
You know, for say people in the mental health profession or scientists, they'll say that what we're doing is we're taking coincidences and giving purpose or giving weight. We're connecting dots that aren't there.
And then I say this: what if there were no coincidences? What are we left with? That means everything happens for a reason. So in your own mind, you can go back and forth if you want to, or you can be like, you know what? There are no coincidences. And I'll tell you, ever since I got onto that train of thinking, everything seems to be working out, and it makes sense. Like, look at the book, look at the whole relativity, the relationship moment. Like, do you think that was a coincidence? Like, do you think any people are changed now? Just a little bit. You're just a little different than you were before. You think that's a coincidence, or do you think that maybe we are trying to evolve in some way and get further with understanding about what's going on in this life? Dude, you guys keep on coming. You'll hear more. I have not shared these stories. I will share my life and tell you these things that have happened and have made me the way that I am. And man, I just want everyone to be peaceful and love and not have fear, man. That's all I care about. That's all I care about.
You know, when we start, because we will talk about this kind of stuff, quite a bit. And just know, when I say I believe in everything, I that's not what I say. I always say I believe in the possibility of everything. I believe in the possibility of everything. But I also believe in the possibility that at the end of all this little discovery of mine, that I come back and go, well, things are what they are. And if there is something else, it will just unknowable. And I'll just continue to live my life. Because in the end, I don't think I'll ever get rid of. I believe there are consequences. I believe there's a give and take to the
Of course.
So, all right, let's hit a couple these things, and then we got to get out of here. We got to look. Don't worry about that. George Zimmerman has been arrested, charged with stalking a private investigator. I do not know the details of this.
Wait, this is new?
This is new.
See, now, but didn't they catch OJ at some point? Look, man, if you did it and it was really wrong, you're going to get caught at some point.
So anyway, he was allegedly stalking a private investigator. So I don't know if the private investigator was stalking him and then he stalked him back, or what was going on, but he's been arrested. Story about a $25,000 robot who wants to put your Starbucks barista out of business. And this is just another one of those stories about the future.
The future which is on computers. You're not needed anymore.
This is one that I wanted
to dummy us down too, man. Think about that. Everything's being dummied down. No more cursive. No more of this, and soon there won't be any print.
So where did you see this? Where did you see this thing that they're taking clocks out of school?
Where was that?
You text me from Tennessee.
I'll find it.
From Nashville. You were in Nashville.
Yeah, I don't know. I was reading something and it popped up, and I was like, "Are you serious? They're taking the analog clock out." So now people because the kids are having a hard time reading. I'm like, then teach the kids how to read the clock. You serious right now?
Sharon says, you don't have enough time today, but I can tell you I have asked God for things, and God is always listening. I'm not talking about material things, but things I need to be emotionally healthy. He always comes through.
Right on time.
There you go. A male professor told a female professor a stupid joke. Now he faces a disciplinary action. Last month, Richard Ned LeBow, a professor of political theory at King's College, found himself in a crowded elevator with Simona Sharoni, a professor of gender studies at Merrimack College, during an academic conference in San Francisco. Sharoni asked LeBow what floor he needed. He replied, "Ladies' lingerie." Right? Which is a line from, which is it was a stupid joke, a standard gag line, LeBow later explained. Lebo.
If it was Tebow, it wouldn't be a problem.
According to the Chronicle of Higher Education, but Sharoni didn't think it was funny, and so she filed a complaint with the International Studies Association, whose conference they were both attending. And now he made, jeez.
Don't get me fired.
LeBow. Well, it's spelled like Tebow. Lebo.
Yeah, I was trying to make a bad joke. I didn't try.
Well, you're going to end up in human resources, in HR, if you're not careful. Like you, let's see. So anyway. He said he had no intention of making her feel uncomfortable. Like you, I am strongly opposed to the exploitation, coercion, or humiliation of women. As such evils continue, it seems to me to make sense to direct our attention to real offenses, not those that are imagined or marginal. By making a complaint to ISA, I consider frivolous, and I expect will be judged this way by the Ethics Committee. You may be directing time and effort away from the real offenses that trouble us both. So she says what floor, it pops into his head, because that line comes from, that's Mick Jagger, the other guy, right. Steven Tyler.
So
Steven Tyler, right?
Right.
No. Where does that come from?
I'm going to look it up.
Does that come from Love in an Elevator? Yeah, that's Love in an Elevator. Yeah. At the beginning of that video, he's talking about the fourth floor, women's lingerie. I think it comes from that.
And what if the dude would just happen to be listening to that and watch the video? You never know. But still, I don't know, man. Just people are so, like I told you, hypersensitive.
But it's it's not hypersensitive. What she's hypersensitive because she has goggles on, Chris, because she sees everything from a misogynistic way, that everything around her is the man trying to keep her down or the man trying to get in her pants. And so in a moment like that, when he's just effing around, and
we don't know what happened to her the day before. Remember when I got accosted by those cops, and what happened to me? I came in here being all sounding like angry black dude. So you don't know what's happened to someone. I get it. It just sucks, man. I don't know, man. I'm not a woman, so I don't really. Well, I'm not a woman. I don't know how it feels, man.
And then lastly was this stupid video here. Keep your eyes in the skies. New video captures UFO speeding through a lightning bolt. So you see this triangle here in the middle of this lightning bolt. They're saying that's a UFO.
Man, they're ahead of the game, bro.
A UFO getting struck by lightning. There was just the last thing. All right. So that's that for the Wake.Show today. Thank you so much for being a part of it. Thank you for the likes and the shares and interacting with us.
If anyone wants to see a movie with me tonight, I'm going to go see Avengers. So you want to hang out? I'll be in Largo.
Kurt said he read in the UK clocks have been taken out of schools altogether.
Thank you.
Especially in rooms
and
during.
That's what I was talking about. And it was in London. Yep. I read that.
Okay, so there you go. It's in London. That was a lot.
Sad.
So it'll be here before you know it across the pond.
Sad.
Chris, you're gigging tonight, you said? Or
no, I'm off tonight.
Good for you.
I'm off, and then I'm not off for the next 2 weeks. I got the babies for 2 weeks.
Nice.
Thank God, man.
Join me tonight out at St. Pete Beach for Trivia Nights, Trivia Tuesday at Boulevard Burgers, starting at 7 o'clock.
Till when?
Till, well, it's supposed to be 8:30, but I'm usually there to about 8:45, 9. But that's all coming to an end next week. Not the night. It's I will be done at 8:30 starting next week, because next week I start a late night trivia night here in Tampa across the bridge.
True.
At Ducky's right here on Kennedy. So that's beginning next Tuesday night.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Have a great day. Be safe.
You guys, be honest, man. Be brave. It's okay. You are who you are for a reason. No one can tell you otherwise. You're fine, man. You're fine. Just relax.